ever seen a drought? Damn, it would hurt. Trap phones buzzing off like an Amber Alert. And when I got home, there's 28 grams in my hearse. Don't want to test the verse, cause then you see the flame was dispersed. I got a ribbon in the sky for the love.
You're now why is it that New England trying to finesse, bro? Like they on some nut shit patch. Like I thought dudes had like a backdoor deal and like the trade was as good as done. Like I don't know. Patriots fans might be in shambles. Hey, low key, Romeo Dobbs, wide receiver one over there for y'all. Real shit. Real shit. Um, but nah, all jokes aside, like I don't know why. All of a sudden, like New England's on the bullshit. Maybe they feel some type of way. Like I don't know. Like we wasn't the one that was messing around with Diana Rossini, dog. That was y'all coach. Like y'all the ones that got aired out, and he was the one that was trying to conspire to get AJ out of here. Like, bro, we was minding our business. We wasn't bothering New England for nothing. So I don't want to hear that. But at the end of the day, New England is not being compliant in terms of giving us the first round pick in 2027. So that's been like the big dilemma right now with the whole AJ Brown thing that I've learned this morning. Um, and this is your boy Zaho Facts, talking sporty with Zaho Facts, episode 3. I told y'all, bro, I'm gonna just keep this thing rolling until the wheels fall off. I'm just really shooting the shits when it comes to my Eagles. Today I am also gonna talk a little bit about the NBA draft lottery. In the 3-2-1 method that I really hate. I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, just so y'all know. So for me, it really doesn't benefit. I mean, we may become a middle of the pack team eventually, but we'll get into that. I just wanted to start with saying OTAs today wasn't open to the public. So I really don't got no play by play actions like I did yesterday for y'all. All I could really talk about is just the things I've been seeing, like there was the report on AJ Brown and the New England Patriots not being compliant. There's a stall in negotiations right now for the compensation that the Eagles want for AJ Brown. I'm keeping in the back of my mind that the LA Chargers are still inquiring on AJ Brown. The LA Rams at one point inquired on AJ Brown. The weird thing about the compensation back, like that we would get back for AJ Brown, is that a lot of teams want to give up wide receivers to replace a wide receiver. Like, and it's like we already did that. So, like, I'm looking for like a depth secondary piece, such as a safety, or give me another backup tight end. Somebody, if it is offense. Also wouldn't mind if you do need to send a player back, getting another linebacker. I think that's another underrated position. Even though we do have depth, we have depth that you still have to question. I love Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I think that he deserves a real shot in terms of being the guy after Zach Bond leaves. But it's still TBD. And then, Smile Munden, same deal. So there's unproven guys, but if we can get another vet linebacker out of it, I wouldn't even be mad at that. But it's just weird when it comes to the comp for AJ back. I'm just looking for as many picks as possible. I love what Howie does with the conditional picks. I think we've been on the winning side of conditional picks in the Howie Roseman era in general. I mean, obviously the most like circumstantial one that kind of changed our franchise is the Carson Wentz one. It was a conditional second that turned into a first. He played 9 games that year. I think that was the threshold or something, or 10 games. It was something like that. But he met that threshold with the very last game of the season. We ended up with that first round pick at 18, 15 or 18, one of the two. That's the one we traded for AJ Brown. So, um, I think we've always been innovative in that way. Another trade that we made a couple years ago was the conditional fourth, the Hassan Reddick one that turned into the third round pick that we got this year. So Howie doesn't mind being patient on these picks and getting the right value for it. So like if it does end up being a conditional second to a first, depending on AJ's play this year, I mean, hey, you take the risk, you take the good with the bad, and you do what it do. But I think Howie would probably look for more or less a 2028 first. I think he would rather settle for that than a conditional second. But hey, I'm also not Howie Roseman. I'm just kind of just shooting the fucking shit at the wall right now. But at the same time, yeah, I just find it weird. Like right now, that the New England Patriots are suddenly like a week before, right? Now you want to start playing hardball to try to see where the compensation is, and I get it. Um, they're trying to still be able to build around Drake May and get AJ Brown. And given AJ Brown's age, I think he'll be 29 at the start of this year or during the year he turns 29, something like that. But yeah, I understand. But you know what? Business is business, and they kind of put us through the ringer this year, y'all. Like with the whole like Rossini thing, it pissed me off all year. It's just narratives all year. So I'm not cutting New England any slack. Like I want the most out of what I can get when it comes to them. Now, if a team like the Chargers was giving up a conditional second or something like that, that turned into a first, I might entertain that just because I know Herbert gonna sling the ball out there, and AJ's probably gonna have a career year out there with Herbie. So I would probably take a risk on something like that. Drake May, that offensive line, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't even think like AJ Brown does make them a better team. I'm not gonna sit here and say that, but I also will say that there's still work to be done in New England. They still have to build up that line. Um, Will Campbell needs to get moved to guard. There's things that need to be done in New England for them to be back in that Super Bowl contention. Again, in my opinion, especially with Mahomes healthy, and I think the Chiefs will be back with a vengeance. Um, in other news, with the Eagles, and like I said, it's with Eagle news today is going to be a little brief. This is going to be a shorter video, because there wasn't really much going on. Like I didn't get too much on the play by play aspect from what happened today because we weren't allowed, or the reporters weren't allowed to be in practice. Um, so um, there is a report from Albert Breer saying that the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys are possible suitors for Cleveland Browns edge rusher Myles Garrett. Now, obviously, like if you've been with rocking with the birds forever or for the last few years or whatever, you know that we've been tied to Myles Garrett almost every offseason. It's kind of been like one of those like underlying things that like, oh, eventually like this is gonna happen. Um, Before getting Jonathan Grenard, I mean, I guess you could say Jalen Phillips last year too. Like the Eagles haven't had like a dominant edge in quite some time, like dominant. Um, if you could hear barking, that's my dogs out there outside. So sorry about that. But we haven't had a dominant edge rusher in quite some time. So uh, we did get Grenard, and I think Grenard is kind of like that borderline dominant. But when I say dominant, you know what I mean when I say dominant. You're talking about your Myles Garrett of the world, your T.J. Watts of the world, your Von Millers of the world. You know what I mean? Like, Hall of Fame edge rushers, essentially. They don't come a dime a dozen. So like, um, you have to take advantage of the move if the opportunity creates itself. And I think for us, we are in a position to make a move for Myles Garrett, and I think we can still be okay. If we didn't have Howie Roseman as a GM, I would feel a little differently about it. But I do think that um, if the opportunity presents itself, I think Howie will do everything that he needs to do to make it happen. And I would love Myles Garrett. I mean, dog, if you're talking about a line with Myles Garrett and Jalen Carter on it, just alone, that's amazing. I do think that we can still hold on to Jonathan Grenard, um, and still hold on to Jordan Davis if like, but there's gonna be a lot of like Cleveland. If Cleveland's smart, they're gonna want to go after one of our core pieces. Maybe a Jalix Hunt. Maybe they ask for, someone like a Jihad Campbell, which I would not want to see. But you have to talk about value, and Myles Garrett is not going to be cheap. And if we do trade for him, like I'm letting you guys know now, hear it from me first. it's gonna be somebody that we're gonna be like, oh my god, we traded him away. Trust me, it ain't gonna. He ain't gonna come cheap. The only thing that I want is Jalen Carter needs to stay. I need to see both of them together. That'd be legendary, legendary. But don't be surprised. I'm telling y'all now, if we do trade for Garrett, do not be surprised you see somebody and you're gonna be like, oh my God. Now, in a perfect world, obviously, we've seen the AJ Brown, a 2027 first and a 2028 first for Myles Garrett, but I don't see it. I honestly don't. And wide receiver is truly a need for the Cleveland Browns. So it's not like it's like a far fetched trade, but at the same time, I just don't see it happening. Um, so we'll move on a little bit. I do want to talk about the Shams tweet that came out, and I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Let me pull up my guy Shams, man. And I want to tell y'all what happened today. So it's a new anti-taking draft reform, and it was approved by the Board of Governors vote on Thursday afternoon. So essentially, what that means is that we're going to a new reform system with our lottery odds with the NBA. It's going to be a 3-2-1 system with the lottery balls, meaning that the top three teams with the highest odds to get the number one pick, their odds are now flattened because they don't want teams to be incentivized to lose games to acquire higher draft picks. And it's shitty. I mean, I understand the idea of teams like just blatantly losing to lose, but I also hate that teams in lower markets that can't acquire talent through free agency um, will still try hard to win games, but the talent won't be able to win them enough games, and they're still going to suffer. They still can't finish in the top five pick with two consecutive years in a row. Um, and the timing of it is bullshit too because the think about the Western Conference Finals right now. The two best teams in the West, they built their teams through draft, not through trades. Only SGA you can say, but not through trades. It was all through drafts, all through having high lottery picks and drafts. Um, so though I do like the fact that unprotected first round picks are a lot more valuable now, um, because I'm a Brooklyn Net fan. So for me, yes, we do have some Knicks picks, we have some Mavericks picks, we have some Suns picks, we have some picks that we can move around. And the fact that a lot of them are unprotected in the next like 2 to 3 years, that is going to be helpful for us. But it's only going to be helpful for us to trade for talent. Um, I maybe some of those picks may become a top 5, top 10 picks. But I also think a lot of those teams are still rebuilding themselves. And if those teams aren't incentivized to win game or to lose more games, and even if they're still bad, if I think those picks still end up in the bottom half of the top 5. Um, I'm a like low key lately. I've been like a real pessimistic like Brooklyn Nets fan in a sense where like next year the Rockets have our pick. I think that's going to be a top 3 pick just because we don't own the rights to it. So that's kind of like my just like, and it sucks. I hope we get out of the dirt soon. I hope we get out the mud soon. But it's funny. It's like my football team and my basketball team are like polar opposites in terms of like where they are as franchises right now. It's so yin and yang. It's so funny. It's so funny. But it's like in one aspect I'm so depressed, and in another I'm like a beat, like yes, like we're gonna compete for Super Bowls. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. But that's my life. Um but I do think that um it will by default it is gonna make teams not, roll out the bench early in games, and they're gonna fight hard, and some of the games may be more entertaining from it. So I guess Adam Silver is gonna get his, he'll get what he wants out of it, I guess. But I do think for like the mid tier teams, the lower tier teams, like it don't really help us because now you got teams that could be one injury away from falling from a good to great team to like a mid tier team and have a chance for the number one pick because they had an injury. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's gonna piss me off because it's the same thing that happened with the Spurs a couple years ago, getting Dylan Harper. The same thing could happen next year, right? I'm gonna give you guys a hypothetical scenario, right? And then I'm out of here. Because like I said, this ain't gonna be a long video. Imagine next year, right? Wemby gets hurt right before the All Star break, misses the rest of the season. The Spurs basically fall into fucking abyss, and they finish with like a bottom 10, seed in the NBA, and they finish with like the 10th worst record or the 11th worst record, right? Just hypothetically speaking. Lottery comes around. Guess who gets the number one pick? The San Antonio Spurs, because they did not ever finish with consecutive um lottery picks. They had a lottery pick last year. They're in the playoffs this year. If they get hurt next year, they'll have a lottery pick next year. That's not consecutive years, right? Isn't the rule consecutive years? So they can quite literally finesse this and end up with even more talent, even more lottery talent. Um, but it's just wild to me that um playing teams and mid tier teams are gonna have a chance to get the number one pick. That's wild to me. Like I feel like if like that's ultimately the case, bro, like um if you really wanna just like dude, just do the draft by team record like the NFL does. Like I think like fuck the lottery. Like that's my opinion on it. Like the worst team's gonna finish the worst team because they're the worst fucking team. I don't think they'll just insensitively lose. Like there'll be a point in time where it'll be like, all right, let me start developing guys, getting guys right, whatever. You can still do the consecutive pick thing, and then just have the team with the worst record under that team go above that team because they can't finish in that thing. You know what I mean? So like, if they finish with the worst record in the NBA 2 years in a row, they automatically have the sixth pick in the draft. Do it that way. Give them the sixth pick in the draft. Or if you really want to punish these teams, you can swap a team that's in the lower 20s or something with them. I don't know, but just you're making the lottery odds whack. Like that's just my opinion on it. It's just to me it's whack. It's whack. But with that being said, man, I'm gonna let y'all go, bro. It's 8 o'clock Eastern time now. I'm about to tune into this game 6 of the San Antonio and OKC. Winner plays the Knicks, unfortunately, but um I'll be back. I'll be back. It's the weekend coming around. I do want to put out some more content. I do got a pretty cool video coming around pertaining to my music. So if some of y'all follow me on here from the music tip, there's we got some good things in the works, man. So um once again, it's your boy Zaho Facts talking sporty with Zaho Facts. Episode 3, man. I'll holla at y'all. Skis.